Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. You're seeing Derek Krause's race on the screen right now. I just wanted to make it known real quick though that there will likely not be a video on Monday or Tuesday as I'm currently dealing with a cold, so I figured I'd just do my best to at least get a video out to you guys today on Sunday. Hopefully I'll be better shortly so we can get back to the video straight away, but yeah, Monday and Tuesday likely no videos unless I get feeling better. But as you see, Derek Krause in the Xfinity race ran P4 for the majority of this race as he was behind John Hunter Nemechek there, and as he came through the final few corners on the final lap on the outside of John Hunter Nemechek, he would come through to finish in the 4th position as he came through the trial side by side with Nemechek, which would be a decent point stay, but not good enough because you're about to see on the playoff screen here that Krause is 9 points behind going into ISM Raceway, so he has some work to do if he wants to get himself into the round of 4. Now, as we set our sights on the Cup race here in Texas, certainly a track that we have a love-hate relationship with. We've had a lot of bad luck here, but we've had speed, so I was pretty confident going into this race. We came into qualifying into the 3rd session we made it to, and we had a 29.0 on the board at the moment. I came through trying to set another lap to see if I could go quicker, but we came out of turn 4, getting into the wall, making contact with Joey Logano, so it wouldn't be a good lap, so we would have to stick with the 29.0, and we will start in the 6th position for Texas, so let's hope we can move forward.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series thunders back to Texas at Texas Motor Speedway for the running of the AAA Texas 500. They say everything's bigger in Texas. For our remaining playoff contenders, that saying holds especially true as the stakes today don't get any bigger. In 2017, Kevin Harvick punched his ticket to the championship race by way of a thrilling victory here in the Lone Star State. Who will master this 1.5-mile asphalt speedway today? The green flag is in the air, so let's go racing on PRN.
Alright, we are ready to go green here in Texas. Joey Logano starts on the pole. Joey Gase has been struggling all weekend. We're going to see if they can turn it around here in the race. Martin Truex Jr. on the outside front row, along with the 22 of Joey Logano, as we get ready to start from the 6th position here in Texas for the 2nd race of the round of 8, the middle race now, as we're ready to go green behind the 2 Busch brothers here in Texas. The green flag is out, and we are underway here. 4 drivers will compete for a championship in Homestead, Miami, and we could decide maybe one today if a driver in the top 8 gets a victory. Now as we head down towards turns 1, obviously we have a pretty good points cushion, just like the other 3 drivers in the Final 4 do currently right now. So hopefully we can just get out of here with a decent finish and have no one from 5th through 8th in the points win, because if that happens, obviously it will change up the points picture quite a bit as we get into the back of Kyle Busch as we go through turn 3 now, battling alongside the 24 of William Byron as we exit turn 4, just trying to get in behind him as Kyle Larson, our former teammate, tries to look to my inside, but we kind of chop his nose there as we head down towards turns 1 as Truex gets hung out there as he drops down to the 6th position just in front of the 24 of William Byron as we make contact there with him as we come out of turn 2, but we would save the car thankfully and keep our sights going forwards, and by the time we came to the end of the lap we would look to the inside of Byron down the front straightaway as we went down towards turns 1 and 2, and we would be able to pull ahead of the 24 of Byron and look to the inside of Truex, our rival, as well as we came out of turn 2 going down the back straightaway side by side with our rival of Truex, who's in must-win situation if he wants to make it into the Final 4. As we go side by side into turn 3, he certainly gives me not a lot of space, and we give up the position right there. And by the time we came to lap 9, still running behind him in the 7th position as we went into turn 3, we would end up getting our first caution of the day. I did not find what had exactly caused it, as we would not pit. You see some cars towards the back would come to pit road, so there was a bit of a mixed strategy here as we would get ready to go green. And we are ready to go green from the 7th position behind the 2 of Brad Keselowski, who is alongside our rival of Truex as the green flag is back out, and we are underway again. And you know immediately Truex is a rival because he's already trying to turn left, and he's going to get into the back of the, or into the side of the 2 as we get into the back of the 2 now as we head down towards turns 1. We got out of the throttle just a bit because I knew if I was on the inside of Truex in the corner, he was going to come down on me, and you see there behind, like half the field is missing, so I just figured out there that probably the caution was due to someone blowing an engine now as we go down into turns 3 and turns 4, moving up into the 8th position on the inside of the 21 car of Paul Menard as we exit turn 4, trying to stick our nose up the inside of Eric Jones now as we come through the tri-oval to complete the first lap since the restart as we battle alongside the 21 of Paul Menard as we head down towards turns 1. Kurt Busch leads over second place of Kyle Busch. Obviously, Kurt Busch eliminated in the last round after an incident in Talladega put him behind, and that's ultimately what got him eliminated. Now as we're all over the back of our rival Martin Truex Jr. again as we head down towards turn 3, we stick it up the outside and we make a little bit of contact with him and certainly lose a little bit of ground right there, but we would fortunately hold on to the 7th position, and a few laps later you would see we would have a spinner of Ross Chastain on lap 15, and he would make heavy contact with Cody Ware, or Brendan Gaughan I believe it was, and he would stop there and he would actually get back going, and we would come through, the green flag would stay on, we would all have to deal with him as he was back on track here through turns 1 and 2. We would have to move up the track to avoid him, and that allowed Chase Elliott to get to my inside as he would be able to come through and get past me as we would drop to the 7th position again now in Texas as we went down into turn 3, trying to send it up the outside though to Truex as we came through the center of the corner, and it would actually work pretty well as we came out of turn 4 though. He hits us in the left hand side and we move up the track, but thankfully we hang on to the car now as we would lose some ground again, and by the time we came to the white flag in the stage, in the exact same position here right with Elliott and Truex as we come through turns 1 and 2 for the final time in stage 1 on the outside of the 9 of Elliott, making a little bit of contact on his right rear as we come down the back straightaway for the final time here in stage 1. Joey Logano is also now in this little party of cars as we go through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time in stage 1 alongside the 9 of Chase Elliott, who won last episode in Martinsville. We would come out of turn 4 side by side now with the 22s and make contact. He would edge me out for 7th and we would get P8 in the first stage. And if we can just get another stage 2 finish like this, then we'll be really good when it comes to the point situation. We would come to pit road. Kyle Busch won the stage to get a playoff point, but we would come to pit road, take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires, and we would come out still in the 8th position, so certainly exactly where we need to be right now as we get ready to start stage 2 here in Texas for the middle playoff race of the round of 8 as we're ready to go green. The green flag is back out alongside the 22, Joey Logano, who sits in 7th. We actually make a little bit of contact with him before the line now as it's just 19 laps here in the second stage. On the back bumper of now Chase Elliott in the 9 as we head through turns 1 and turns 2. Kyle Busch leads the way as we exit turns 2 now with Ryan Blaney on the inside as we just try to hold on at least to a top 10 position here as we come down the back straightaway, still behind the 9 of Chase Elliott as we go into turns 3. Kyle Busch doing a great job in this race as he wants to make it known that he is the top driver to contend with this season, and he's certainly going to have a good chance to win this championship now as we battle alongside still with Ryan Blaney as we come through to complete the first lap in this second stage as Kyle Busch leads over our teammate of Kevin Harvick in 3rd place of his brother Kurt Busch now as we come through exiting turn 2 down the back straightaway, falling to P11 for the moment, but we would be able to work our way forwards as we would have an audio cutout there. That's what happens when my controller dies when I'm on the wheel, but we would be able to get ahead of Elliott and them, and by the time we came to lap 5 we had worked our way up to 10th, passing Brad Keselowski now for 9th as we came through turns 1 and 2, so we were certainly working our way back forwards at this point as we also ran down the 20 of Eric Jones and we sent it up his inside as we went down towards turns 3 as well. So we were certainly sitting in a good position as we passed Jones for the 8th position, and we would continue to ride in this 8th position, and by the time we came to lap 12, we would continue following Austin Dillon, who had made his way to the inside of Martin Truex Jr. Paul Menard had actually worked up to us, and he had gotten to my outside as we came through the trial, crossing the line, making a little bit of contact with Menard with just 7 laps to go now in the stage as we send it up the inside of Truex, and obviously him being a rival, he's going to come down and hit me on the right side, but thankfully we wouldn't even be phased by that. We would be able to hang on with no problems as we continue to battle side by side down the back straightaway as we head down into turn 3. Truex would back out of the throttle as we gave a shot to Austin Dillon. That was just kind of me being in panic mode. I kind of just hit the 3, just ascended into the corner so hard, just trying to get away from the 19 of Truex, and by the time we came to the final lap in the stage, we had worked our way up into the 6th position as we went down through turns 1 and turns 2 for the final time here in stage 2. Blaney up ahead there in the 5th position as we come down the back straightaway. straightaway for the final time. They were likely going to have to make a pit stop at the end of this now as we head into turn 3 for the final time. In stage 2, Elliott and Johnson lurk behind, both eliminated from the playoffs. No Hendrick cars remain in the playoffs right now. As we come out of turn 4, we would hang on to come through the tri-oval and get 6 in stage 2. So a great race for us so far, a great points day for us at the moment, and hopefully we can continue that going into the final stage. And we would come to pit road to take 2 cans of fuel once again and 4 tires. If this race stays green, we will have to make a green flag pit stop. So this could be the first one of the season as we get ready to start this final stage here in Texas. Kyle Busch won stage 2, and now he tries to hold on to win the race here in Texas now as we go green to start this final stage in Texas with just 39 laps to go now. So that's one of the longer final stages for sure as we come through turns 1 and turns 2 on the back bumper of the 22 of Joey Logano, who would pull away from me as Elliott would get ahead of me as well as we would drop down to that 7th position early on with the 3 of Austin Dillon on the inside as we head down towards turns 3. Johnson and Jones battle behind me as we close in on the back of the 22 of Logano through the center of the corner, giving him just a light tap to the bumper now as we come through the trial to complete the first lap in the final stage now as we battle alongside, I believe, the 3 of Austin Dillon as we head into turns 1 and turns 2. So certainly not the ideal lane to be on right now, and it was certainly showing as we were just struggling to work our way forwards. But as we came out of turn 2, we would make a 3 wide up the middle between Logano and Dillon and pull ahead of Austin Dillon and get ahead of Joey Logano as we went into turns 3. And we would obviously continue to try to battle our way forwards as we had ran down the 9 of Elliott, looked to his inside as we came through the trial. Would have hit lap 48 of 84 with 37 laps to go now as we went down towards turns 1 side by side with the Napa driver, and we would be able to pull ahead of Chase Elliott and briefly move in to a top 5 position as we came through out of turn 2 down the back straightaway behind now the 12 of Ryan Blaney, and we would look to his inside by the time we came to lap 51, trying to make a pass on him as we came through to cross the line with 33 to go at this point, trying to move into the 4th position as he would get clear, but we would send it up the inside anyways as we came through turns 1 and turns 2, and we would be able to pull ahead of Ryan Blaney and briefly move into the 4th position as we came down the back straightaway, almost knocking the wall down. And by the time we came to lap 59, we had pulled away from those cars behind us a little bit, but I knew at this point the tires were kind of starting to fall off, so we were certainly getting really close to maybe having to think about pitting now as we came down the back straightaway, almost hitting the wall there, but certainly not what we need to be doing, losing the tire wear. Hopefully we can at least keep this car competitive for another handful of laps or so. But obviously the longer this run went on, the more the tires wore, and the cars behind me, they would start to close in on me. And by the time we came to lap 66, you see here Blaney, Johnson, Elliott, Logano had all run me down, and we had only 8 laps of fuel left in the car at this point, and they would all, I'll just move to the side and let Blaney, Johnson, Elliott, and Logano all come through on the inside to pass me, because that was pretty much a roadblock at this point. I made a decision that we certainly need to make a pit stop now. We are going to try to make a short pit work here, maybe a little bit of an undercut as you would call it in Formula 1. By the time we came to lap 68, still a few car lengths behind these guys as you went down into turn 3. We would be getting ready to make our first green flag pit stop of the season. What could go wrong now is we get sideways going onto the apron, but we hang on to the car now as we come to the line. We would end up speeding onto pit road, and we would end up getting ourselves a speeding penalty, obviously. So exactly what we did not need to have happen, and we would come through to serve our penalty, and we came out of pit road obviously 2 laps down at this point, and hopefully it would stay green as we came through. A crucial mistake from myself, not what we needed to have happen as we get ready to rejoin the track here through turns 1 and turns 2, and we have trouble up ahead, and it's the 9 of Chase Elliott who goes hard into the wall after blowing a tire, and that would bring out a caution, which is exactly what we did not need, which I just described a moment ago, and this would completely ruin our race. We would take the wave around and sit in P37, but a very costly mistake on my part, and it went even worse when Chase Elliott would crash as we would go green here with just over 10 laps to go, about 12 to be exact now as we get ready to cross the line. So it's certainly some ground to make up there as we have another audio cutout due to my controller dying. I would get that fixed thankfully as we went down towards turns 1 and turns 2. Obviously not what we needed to have happen, like I explained, and certainly a big setback for this team, but we have the points to where this isn't the end of the world. We certainly are in good position to make the final 4, and we would work our way up to P34, battling alongside Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman on lap 77 as as we came through to cross the line. As we went through the tribal, we would make contact with the 42 of Kyle Larson, and we would go hard into the wall, and that would again bring out a caution. Now, we would come to pit road, fix the car, and we actually went green again, and we had another caution, and for some reason I didn't have the recording of it. I don't know what or where on earth it went, but the caution came out again, and we would restart in P33 with just 2 laps to go at this point now in Texas. A horrible last stage, or just half of a last stage for us after a crucial speeding penalty on myself. Our first green flag pit stop of the season has gone horribly wrong, obviously, now as we come down the back straightaway. At this point, we were on the lead lap, so I was trying to regain whatever positions I could as we went down towards turn 3, sticking it up the inside of the 62 of Brendan Gaughan, but certainly not a good race for us after we sped on pit road, and it certainly could have been maybe a little bit better if Chase Elliott hadn't have crashed and brought out the caution, but thankfully we have a chance now to get a top at least 30 here through turns 1 and 2 on the final lap of this event as we send it up the inside of the 00 of Landon Castle as we go 3 wide down the back straightaway for the final time here in Texas as we head down into turns 3 and turns 4. Kyle Busch has dominated this race, and he is about to punch his ticket into the final 4 now as Kyle Busch comes out of turn 4 through the tri-oval. He will come through to win in Texas and punch his ticket into the final 4 as we come through to finish in the 25th position after a very rough final stage here in Texas, but at least we were able to get all those positions back up to 25th at least, so it's not the end of the world. And now as we get ready to see the playoff grid at the end of this race, certainly not going to look the best for us as we come through. There's the obviously finishing order, Bubba Wallace down there in 20th, and a good payout for us at least. I think we get a good 500,000 at least, and there you see the playoff grid. We are still 16 points to the good after that race, so if we go into ISM Raceway and just have a decent race in 5th through 8th and doesn't get a victory, we will still be in the final 4 to compete for a championship in Miami. So obviously now the goal is to just go to ISM Raceway, aka Phoenix, and just not suck, and hopefully 5th through 8th doesn't get a victory, and that will set us up very well. And Martin Truex Jr., I don't know what he's going off about. Obviously we're going to provoke him, but if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be incredibly appreciated. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, Monday and Tuesday likely will not have an episode out as I am dealing with a cold. This is just the first day of dealing with it, so I felt like at least doing my best to get a video out to you guys. So I likely will not be back until Wednesday at the earliest, hopefully, unless we get lucky and I feel better earlier. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you guys in ISM Raceway. Have a good day, everybody.